Um, a couple of months ago, I wrote a little blog post linking another blog post that I wrote in 2003. And I wanted to use that to commemorate the 30-year anniversary of 1973 Triple Crown winner Secretariat's passing. So I thought I'd share this. And I wrote this in October. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the death of racing legend Secretariat, who was put down in 1989 after a bout of laminitis. He was only 18 or 19 years old when he died, but his legacy lives on forever. He was called the Elvis Presley of horse racing. I think it is apt. And now I talk about the 30-year anniversary of his winning the Triple Crown here. As I think of the 30th anniversary of the legendary Secretariat sweep of the Triple Crown, this was 2003, I've decided to share what was certainly one of the high points of my life when I finally got to see him in person. Although I graduated from high school in June of 1973, that was not the most important thing on my mind. Neither was the spiraling Watergate scandal. No, what I and millions of other people cared about in the weeks leading up to June the 9th was whether or not Secretariat was going to win the Triple Crown. He was really the first horse in 25 years since Citation did the deed in 1948 to have a clear shot of taking it. Between Citation and Secretariat, there were 6 other horses who had a shot during that time, but all of them had chinks in their armor and failed. Secretariat, certainly in the minds of the media, was virtually guaranteed the victory. Of course, as we all know, Secretariat didn't disappoint. In fact, he far exceeded expectations by winning the Belmont Stakes in the fastest mile and a half ever run on the dirt, and by the largest margin ever in a major race. He was, in Charles Hatton's memorable words, a hero in an anti-hero age. I continue to follow the great horse's career throughout his wins and his defeats, which never should have happened. I vowed at that point someday I would get to see him. Fast forward to about 16 years later, I kept putting off seeing him, but finally in 1989 I planned to make the trip from Reno, Nevada to Lexington, Kentucky. I had all the arrangements made months in advance. Unfortunately, tragedy struck when my oldest brother, who was 56, was diagnosed with colon cancer. He was given only a few months to live. I seriously thought of canceling the trip, but when I saw my brother for the last time, about a week before he died, he insisted that I go and get a picture of Secretariat for his wife. It was literally a last wish. 2 weeks after my brother died, I fulfilled that request. It was July 31st, 1989. As anybody who lives in that part of the country knows, summer is not the best time to visit because of the god-awful humidity. It was perhaps 85 degrees out. Not so bad, except for the fact humidity was probably 200%. There was fog in the air, or what I would call fog, not unlike what southern Oregon gets in November, and I was sweating buckets. Despite this, Lexington is surely one of the great show places in the United States, looking as it does like a giant golf course. It was also very easy to get around, and I had absolutely no difficulty getting to Claiborne Farm on the Paris Pike in Paris, Kentucky. No difficulty, except I had to drive perhaps 70 miles per hour on a narrow 2-lane road. Anyway, I met the groom at the parking lot, and after touring the stallion barns and seeing such grades as Danzig, Devil's Bag, Ferdinand, 49er, Nijinsky II, Mr. Prospector, Private Account, and Ack, to name just a few, I finally got to see Secretariat. Of course, I took many pictures, though there are none of me posing with him because I took them all and I was alone. After taking the pictures, I walked up to the great horse and petted him. I can't describe his appearance except to say that his coat was an unnatural red color, not golden chestnut, but red as in the color of a fire engine. He was also very serene. There was never a better horse, as the groom described Red, as Secretariat was called. After I said I felt there would never be another one like him, the groom led Red back to his stall, a stall that had his sire Bold Ruler's name on it and plaques detailing Red's career in Triple Crown sweep. There wasn't any doubt who the major attraction of that farm was. While I was in the barn, the groom asked me if I would like to have a lock of Secretariat's mane. I said sure, and I also had the hair wrapped in a butcher paper. That capped off what was truly an unforgettable day in my life, and the lock of Secretariat's mane remains a memento of that wonderful occasion. I also will never forget when we walked to the Stallion Cemetery and visited the final resting places of some of the greats of the past: Prince Quillo, Reviewer, Sire of Ruffian, Gallant Fox, Sir Galahad III, Round Table, and Claiborne's own Swale, who died of a heart seizure days after winning the 1984 Belmont Stakes. I told the groom that I had traveled some 2,000 miles to see Secretariat, and I felt that if I didn't see him this year, I would never get another chance. The groom replied, "Well, he is 19. And with that, I left. Never in my wildest dreams that the spot where I made that remark would be the very spot where Secretariat would be buried just 9 weeks later. I was just devastated when I had heard the news Secretariat had to be put down because of incurable laminitis on October 4th. He was still very healthy when I saw him, but he had his first attack about a month after I saw him, and then it finally recurred in all 4 feet. Of course, it was impossible to save him. I can't explain the timing, except perhaps it was meant to be, that Secretariat remained healthy just long enough for me to visit him. And then, after that, he had done his job, and that was it. My brother's last wish fulfilled, my dream fulfilled. So every time I think of Secretariat, I get tears in my eyes. I can't help it. He will always be a big part of my life.